Hello to the DoubleGDP community. This is Jay for, I guess, kind of the second sprint here in 2020. It is January 22nd. I just want to give us a quick update on both the partnership side and the market side for what's going on with DoubleGDP right now. On the partnerships side, some really interesting progress over the last sprint has basically really been all oriented around how do we kind of like build our partnerships apparatus so that we can continue to meet more people who should like basically be in our community of kind of like-minded technologists or like-minded property developers, new city creators, all that kind of stuff. To help us scale that effort, we've brought on a marketing, or excuse me, a finance and operations partner that is kind of taking over from Nolan and I some of the some financial accounting for DoubleGDP. So the way that we kind of like run our books, our QuickBooks, our various different systems for internal operations there, so that our leadership team can be a little bit more externally focused and really build some new relationships. So a lot of progress over the last sprint to basically move some of those activities off of me and onto our partner. Which is in a great way allowing me to kind of like basically orient some focus much more externally. Then kind of like taking advantage of that, right? What we've actually done is put together a plan for how to go out and continue to build partnerships and build this community over the next year, right? With basically the goal, by the end of the year, of bringing on probably our next like 2 or 3 kind of strategic partners, and with those strategic partners really kind of seeing the direct impact on a weekly active user growth, right? So that's the overall goal for partnerships for the rest of the year. We basically decided strategically the best path to push that forward in the next quarter, right, over the next like 2 to 3 months, is to take advantage of a really good platform for this particular community that's coming up in March, which is the Charter Cities Institute's first annual conference. I should just share my screen so you get a little bit of a visual here. But so in mid-March, on March 17th and 18th, our close partner, the Charter Cities Institute, is going to be hosting its very first conference in Johannesburg. That is what we think is going to be really like the gathering in any given year of many of the different like leaders and technologists and city and new city founders who are really part of this broader community. Certainly our current customer in Kwashi is going to be there and playing a really important role, but that community that they're gathering there is also going to include a lot of other folks who have similar visionary plans for other parts of Africa and for other parts of other emerging markets. So we're going to really aim to be a very active member of that conference, and much of our partnerships kind of approach and strategy and efforts over the next 2 months is going to be connected to that to that conference, both kind of like driving some of our community to know more about what's going to be happening at the conference with some communications, writings, and early conversations, as well as setting up for some very strategic conversations with a few close and potential future strategic partners while we're there. That'll be kind of some lead up conversations, as well as some like planning for how we really take advantage of the people that are going to be a part of that session. For those of you who want to learn more about this conference, highly recommend you look into it. You can read about it on chartercitiesconference.com. You can also read a little bit more about it on the weekly or maybe it's bi-weekly emails that the Charter City Institute sends out, and sort of like their newsletter. It's a fantastic overview of all the different like kind of headlines that have been going on in the broader space of of charter cities and new cities, and a lot of the things that their team of researchers and community builders have been reading and thinking about over the course of that last little while. We find it a really useful tool on our end to kind of like keep tabs on what's going on. And in fact, a lot of times, if you take a look on our own site, we actually like publish a lot of the insights that we have for the similar in a similar way that lives on our progress page, just under what we're learning, right? Where there's basically a database of like our own insights to from the various different kind of like activities of this like new cities and new communities in emerging markets that are being built. And oftentimes, like the stuff that we read about in the Charter Cities newsletter, like we're trying to capture, like, hey, what's most important for us and the way that like our technology should be evolving so that it learns from that. We publish that stuff here on the DoubleGDP site as well. Most interesting thing from a market development standpoint that was really happening the last 2 weeks is the announcement of the Talent City project in Nigeria. So Talent City is going to be a new charter city that takes advantage of some of Nigeria's free economic zone or free trade zone policies, and they're coming online and have announced what their efforts around Talent City in Nigeria and what they're kind of trying to create over the next couple of years. And we just think that's really exciting. So read more about it on our website if you want, on DoubleGDP/progress/ what we're learning. You can read about that and all sorts of other things there. The main other thing that's going on in terms of partnerships right now is just us planning for that conference. So Nolan and I are beginning to plan out a little bit about like the types of the type of presence that we're going to have there. We have a speaking slot which is really exciting, and we're going to have an opportunity to share with a lot of these the founders of new cities what they can do to basically really like increase the attraction of new and pioneering residents to their cities. And fortunately, we've actually like done some really great work with our first customer to make sure that our technology helps that customer attract residents, get them on board, and get them building and moving in faster. And so I think there's a really good opportunity for us to tell some of that story and a few others when we're at the conference. So that's a little bit of an overview for what's going on with partnerships and community development here at DoubleGDP, at least over the last sprint. As we look forward to the next sprint, our plan is really to increase some of our external marketing. We're going to be doing some more writing, some more blog posts, and some meetings with the folks who are involved in this conference. And really that's going to be the story over the next few weeks as we continue to build the community for DoubleGDP. Drop me a line if you have any questions or just want to chat about the same type of stuff. And if you're going to be at the conference, please send me an email at jay@doublegdp.com so that I can make sure that we spend some really good time talking to each other. Talk soon. See you at the end of this sprint.